Yeah, the call wild's always bringing me home. Call wild's always bringing me home. Call wild's always bringing me
Hello, wildlings.
home.
Welcome to another episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. I am so excited to have Deanna DeShea here, wildlife photographer, here with me today. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so happy that you were able to take the time to come on the podcast. I absolutely love your work. Fine art photography is so beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
It wasn't easy to capture.
I'm sure. So I'm really excited to hear your story. When did you first start doing photography?
So I actually have a background as an artist. I majored in art history. I used to paint, and I also have been doing digital design for about 20 years. Hate to date
Wow.
myself, but so photography was never my thing. It was always the animals. They just kind of went together. And I think it was the first time I went to Africa, 2017. It
Wow.
was when I really just started enjoying capturing them. My goal was always to not be a great photographer, but to tell their side of the story of their struggles, their tenacity, the extinction crisis. So that has always been my goal from the very beginning. It just
Yeah.
kind of, I just kind of got good at it.
Yeah. I mean, I really love like your pictures. Every time I look at them, they're just so sharp and clear. And like how do you pick like the composition? Like it does a lot go into like the editing because they do seem so focused. And what I think is like really amazing and cool about your work is that it really highlights like each individual subject really well. And I love the uniqueness of your style of photography too.
That's great to hear. That was kind of my goal is I
Yeah.
really wanted to almost humanize these animals so people can really understand what's happening to them in the African land. Actually, international, all animals are facing a big extinction crisis, and from human encroachments, from poaching to trophy hunting, illegal hunting, habitat loss, plastic pollution. I could go down the very long list.
I
So
know.
I
Yeah.
really wanted people to, because there's so many people that will never travel to Africa, and I really wanted my photo to. Every photo has a name and it has a story, and I don't make up a lot of these stories. These are actual, Lorian behind me, she was a famous leopard out in the Masai Mara, and she has many stories that photographers would travel just to photograph her. And I captured her right before she was killed. So she has a beautiful story and the cubs she left behind. And so it's always been my goal is to tell their story. And I'm very grateful that I'm actually doing it, something I set out to do.
Yeah, and I think that like from talking to a couple of other guests as well, it's, focusing actually on the individual stories of animals too being so
Mhm.
important and that yes, as a species as a whole, they may represent something. They obviously represent their niche in nature,
Mhm.
but just their individual stories are very capturing too, especially like a lot of the wolves in Yellowstones have like very capturing stories. 907F who just passed away, but
I know. I haven't gotten into anything locally, weirdly.
right.
I always want to leave the United States as soon as I can for obvious
Yeah.
reasons. But
Yeah.
I think that is something I may want to do. Well, I'm here. I should be doing something, right? But like I said, there's so many hours goes into one photograph, like just picking it and then editing it and then writing about it and making sure I get all the information correct. It's just so many hours into just one image. It takes me, I still have images I'm editing from 5 years ago. I just can't get through it all.
Yeah.
I
And
take
I'm
way
sure.
too many photos. I get shutter happy.
Hey, well, while you're there, right, you might as well get as many photos as you can. And that's one of my favorite things about wildlife photography and videography too, is it's like the ultimate gift that you can take away from nature without actually taking anything away from nature.
True.
Yeah,
Photograph is everlasting, and my photos will always be relevant. It's one
right.
day they might be extinct, and so it's going to be like, oh wow, you actually saw a leopard in the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What goes into like when you pick like a travel like in when you go to Africa, like what goes into like your destination choices and like what you choose to focus on and uh
It's challenging because, it's kind of like when you go to your favorite restaurant, you order the same meal because it works and you like it. So there's some places I just continue to go back to, like the Serengeti, the lions. It's just there's no place like it in my opinion. Amboseli with the large herds of elephants. So I kind of always go back to those places, but I'll try to pick one or two new places that I haven't visited just so I'm not repeating the same year.
right,
Even though it's never the same, it's always, sometimes the animals are different.
right.
Some have died. There's new ones. It's never exactly the same. Even though I'm in the same place, I might pick a different lodge just to try to have a new experience. But there's so many beautiful places in Africa and really the worldwide that I want to go to. But
Yeah.
you just can't do it all, can you?
No. Yeah, and it seems like, your heart's pretty tied to Africa as well. So,
It's
what's like
kind of
some of
ruined my traveling for me.
yeah,
I used to want to go to Italy, and I've been around. I've been to Europe and different places. But when I went to Africa, first of all, it's so expensive. It's so challenging to get there. It takes 3 days to get there. I really don't
right,
have time to do anything else. It takes me
right,
6 weeks to pack, and I don't have the time really
right.
to go
Yeah.
anywhere else.
What
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like I don't know if it's like completely obvious, but like what would you say like pulls you the most towards the African landscape in particular?
Um, it's so unique. It feels almost so Hemingway has a quote where he says, "If you've ever seen magic, it's in Africa." And I really believe that it's so hard to articulate. And even when you look at my photos, they're beautiful. But when you're there and you have the visceral call of the lion, the thundering of hooves, your skin's sense of sun and dust, you're covered in dust, and it's just like a very nomadic, almost nostalgic ancient land. This is the
Yeah.
cradle of mankind. This is where they found the first humans. So you feel that when you're there. And
Yeah.
when you get on the soil and you put your bare feet or your hands on the soil, it's just something that it's like a fever. It just runs through you.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that. It's definitely on my bucket list to hopefully go one day. I've been to a couple places like in Europe and everything like that, but Africa's definitely on the bucket list. I'm sure that when you're there and you're encompassed, like you said, in the sounds, the smells, the touch, the feel, it's totally different.
I mean, time stands still. You arrive as one and you depart as another. I mean, every time I go, I completely change. I think it's
Yeah.
healed a lot of parts of me. I was going through a divorce right before my first trip, and every time I come back, I feel like just layers shred, and it changes you. It really does. There's just no coming
Yeah.
back to who you were before you went to Africa. At least
Yeah.
that's my experience. But
Yeah, it's like the ultimate like wild rugged landscape, right? Like it's
so
pretty.
rugged. It can be so wild. I've done some wild stuff, and I've also stayed at some fancy lodges. You kind of have to experience both.
Yeah.
I've camped out in the middle of nowhere in a small tent with nothing around me, no electricity, and that was fun for a couple days.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
You're so scared to go to the bathroom. It's just like,
Right.
especially at night. It's dark. I mean, you don't see, all you see is eyes.
Right. You never know what those eyes sometimes will lead to.
I mean, honestly, anything could kill you.
Right. Africa, the still wild landscape. What's like I guess like what's like one of like your stories that like you've been maybe like in a little bit of trouble or something like that?
I have had some stories, but you don't really hear of a lot of people dying.
No.
I
Yeah.
don't know how more people haven't died because, I mean, you and I both know common sense is becoming increasingly uncommon. I don't know how more people haven't died on safari. They just, these animals, even like the lion though, and they're kind of scared of you too. You have to remember that.
Right.
Um, so they don't really separate you from the car. Obviously, if I got out of the vehicle, it would be a different story possibly with some lions. I've gotten pretty close, and there's that moment when a lion's looking at you and there's nothing in between you that you feel your heart like just pounding like you've never felt, and it's just they just kind of look at you. I have house cats. My house cats give me the same look, but it's a feeling where you think they're going to kill you, right? They're about,
Right.
if you have cats, you understand. Like it's that look where you're just like, is he going to kill me right now? But they just don't. I don't know why. They just, they're just big babies. They're just dangerous big babies, really. Yeah,
Right. And I feel like it's also like reading their body language, I'm sure is like a big,
absolutely. As you
yeah.
study, I mean, I've studied animals since I was 10 years old, constantly reading about them. So yeah, you do kind of learn their behavior, and it's kind of like, even your pets, you learn when they're upset or when they're not happy. I know when my cat's about to scratch me when
Right.
I've pushed him too far. It's just I know it's coming. So it's the same thing and you do have to be cautious. I think you always have to be aware of your surroundings. And there's been some times with elephants where I've just put the camera down. I don't think they really like the clicking and the shuddering. I could kind of tell like they've had enough. They'll let you know if they've had enough. But
Right.
most photographers were pretty respectful. Like we go, we get us some shots, and then we leave. We don't pester them all day.
Right.
We,
Yeah.
we we try to just be observers in their natural habitat, and that's really how you get these beautiful pictures.
Right.
Lauren was just yawning, really. She was just having a nap by a tree, and she yawned, and I captured it, and then I left her alone. So it's just, yeah,
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
like that's the biggest thing too, like with wildlife photography, is being respectful of like the animals in the space and not trying to like harass wildlife to get like the
And
perfect
I've
shot.
seen a lot of that, and because this field is so saturated, there's so many. And there are the photographers that are trying to get the best shot. And this happens a lot in a place called the Masai Mara. It's been overrun with photographers who aren't respecting the animals. It's a place of cats. There's cheetahs and lions and lots of cheetah kills, and they get in the way. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've been there. I've seen it. And
Um,
that's not how I want to be. I don't want to. I've been an animal activist since I was 10 probably, and I don't want to disturb them. There's so much conflict even within their own animal kingdom. The biggest threat to lions is really lions. They kill each other all day long. So you just kind of want to observe, and that's how you get these photos. I'm not looking for the best shots.
right.
I just want them and their story and viewing them naturally. I love that. I think it's beautiful to just watch them.
Yeah, it's unique, but it's also just who they are, right? Like that's why we love these animals is like because of what they are and who they are, and to
Yeah.
get their more natural instincts is better, I think, and usually comes out with a more unique pose or something like the photo behind you because you're just a little fly on the wall, like you're just trying to grab a little moment of time and then leave. So,
I mean, my most beautiful images that I see, even of other photographers, is just the face of a lion to me. Like they don't have to be yawning or jumping off of a tree or what of the things that people want to capture. Just a stunning face of a lion to me is just like, and that's what sells, honestly. I mean, all of my crazy shots, I do have some. They never sell. People don't want them. They want
right.
this. Just want these beautiful portraits of these
Yeah.
animals. A
Yeah,
lot
and
you can see a lot through their eyes, really. They don't need to be doing anything, active, but it is
I
nice
mean,
when you get those shots.
I would agree, like as someone that's not a professional that just really loves like looking at other people's work and photography, that I don't know, just like the lion's face is so beautiful, and like, when you're just looking at wild
Um,
animals, their uniqueness, like their coloration, like I'm also an artist, so love that like brown tawny color. It's just so
And they
beautiful.
all look different.
Yeah, they
They don't
do.
have the same facials. It's interesting. I mean, I can look at so many of my lion pics and they all look different. I know who they are, you know?
Yeah. Some
Yeah.
have scars, some have,
Some scars,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Missing
absolutely.
teeth,
Right. Which makes
that's
it
there.
their natural habitat, like what they've been through, like their
Mm.
stories, their unique individual paths, which is amazing and beautiful. Do you ever see any like what would you say in like the African like conservation landscape? Because I know that there isn't like a one size fits all for conservation, right? Like because so many different landscapes and things cause different problems, but like what would you say are some of the biggest issues for like wildlife conservation in Africa right now?
There's so many issues. It's just, it's mind blowing. I mean, and like you said, every region is different.
Right. Yeah, it's hard
Um,
to say, right? But
I
maybe
mean, I
like
think habitat loss is the biggest issue because that's trickling down to poaching, hunting, things like that. Uh, Human wildlife conflict is a huge problem. You know, you have all this land, and then you have these elephants have traversed this land for, you know, thousands of years. And then we come in and we put a house with a farm and we're
right,
in the elephant's way. So then the elephant becomes, they become the problem, even though you've put a house in front of them.
right.
And that happens a lot. And, you know, you have to kind of getting to know a lot of the locals in the African community. Some of them are such beautiful, amazing people. And when you're just trying to support your family and feed your family, the elephants and the lions, and they become a problem. And I get it. I get both sides, but you know, there has to be a solution to where, and I know a lot of conservation companies, organizations now are actually trying to involve the community with education and helping them build fences. And so they're not just killing these animals. And it's wonderful to see that happen now. Recently, I've gone back and seen new fences built around farms and things like that. And there's a lot of really great organizations, boots on the ground organizations that are helping the communities, because if you don't help the communities, you can't really help the animals either. They kind of go together. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're so intricately connected, and I think that's another theme that I've been seeing with a lot of like people that have that I've chatted with that have worked in and around conservation is that like we need to involve the local communities, and like you said, they're just trying to feed their family. So, you know, in order to help conservation, helping them is the way of hopefully going into the future. So it is really beautiful to see that working out too.
Yeah, education is it's really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they can see value in the animals, then they want to help keep them alive. If they don't see value in the animals, then they're part of the problem, not the solution. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, showing them like why they should care and how important like elephants are keystone species in
Keystone
Africa, right?
species.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't have Africa without elephants. It won't survive.
Yeah.
They're earth gardeners. They garden the land.
Right. They're so special. Like even their footprints, they're so big, like they hold
They're so
water for birds and
big. Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do so much actually. It's amazing when you actually there's a couple really good documentaries out there on the elephants, and it's amazing when you actually see what they can do.
Yeah.
They're I think they're more intelligent than I think we're starting to with new research that's come to light is they actually have names for each other.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is which is not something we knew in the past, I don't think. And I think we're just starting to realize how intelligent they really are,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that's like I can't wait to like be able to see how science advances so we could be able to understand animals better because like especially with elephants they're so sensitive and maternal and intelligent
No
and like
maternal.
yeah, and I can't wait to see what that like science brings in regards to like how they communicate. And I think there's just so much depth to animals that people just like, or just some people, I think a lot of people realize how beautiful and important animals are. But
I hope
um
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope so too, because I don't think that, I think the hardest part is how do we show, right, how important each species and animals are, to their environment, and how they contribute, you know, to the ecosystem and to Mother Nature.
It's an ecosystem for a reason. We need
Right.
all of them. They go
Yeah.
together.
Hi, wild ones. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. This episode is sponsored by my clothing brand, Femme Sauvage, and you can find a discount code and link in the description. So check it out. We have a lot of amazing designs, and $5 of the proceeds goes to different charities. So please feel free to check it out and enjoy the rest of the episode. Thanks so much. Yeah. What are some like projects that you are like thinking you want to do in the near future?
So many. We'll see what I get done this year. I'm already feeling pretty lazy, but I have a new book I'm working on.
Cool.
I'm gonna come up with I've already started. It's a eco-friendly apparel line, so t-shirts and things like that. I think I'm gonna do a vegan cookbook. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
that's
gonna go back to Africa. It's just, you
cool.
know how you start the year off. It's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then we'll see. But
Yes.
definitely the book. I've already started working on it. And definitely the t-shirts, the apparel. I've already started on that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm trying to just live more slowly this year as well, too. I'm so tired of I'm kind of disconnecting from social media quite a bit. Just trying to live slower, more
Yeah.
peaceful, less drama.
Yeah. We don't
You
have to
know,
rush into the next project right away. We can just take our time, and like I feel like actually slower is better, because we get, especially me, I'm a New Yorker, so everything's very fast paced.
fast.
Yeah.
Well, Austin's becoming that way as well. We're right behind you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
But to be intentionally slower, I think, is also really important too, for like our mental health and
it
not getting
really is.
burnout. Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but people aren't doing very well.
No. Yeah.
I mean, I've had to really disconnect from humanity as a whole. Just, I don't know. Social media should be such a beautiful thing. I mean, it was meant to connect us, but man, it's just gotten ugly lately.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
trying to
very
just
hard.
get back to just me and why I started this photography. And I want to start writing stories and I'm doing some video stories of just the animals. I think that's just what I need to do for my mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.
Disconnect from all the news and media and drama.
Yeah. And just
Mm.
like also like to focus on creativity and like putting
Mm.
out your own work, and like not getting like caught up in so much absorbing, I guess, other people's stuff. Cause I feel like for me, I'm also very sensitive, and like I pick up on all that stuff so
I
much.
do
So
too. I
yeah.
pick up on energy from across the world. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think I'm so grateful that not everyone's creative. Not everyone has a
Oh,
creative outlet. So you have to imagine people that have a job they don't like from 9 to 5, and they come home, they're angry, and they just get on social media and attack strangers. This is what they do. I don't know. So I'm very grateful that I've been able to go to Africa, that I have a passion that it might not make me rich, but at least I had it, and at least I made a dream come true. And hopefully I can create some sort of content that inspires people to live better, be nicer, be kinder, save animals, go vegan,
right.
whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good thing to try to put out into the world too. I feel like that's my thing, my thought, like on social media too, is like there's so much negativity. Like my rule of thumb is like I'm only gonna put out like positive like things. And like that doesn't mean that like I can like, because I do think mental health is important, and like I think sometimes it gets like positive washed on social media, but at the same
Absolutely.
time, I don't want to put anything negative out towards somebody else. I think it's okay to recognize when like, hey, we're not doing okay, or like we're having a rough day or something like that. But to not like push that out onto other people, you know, and just to
Yeah.
get it out, right? Like those keyboard warriors. Yeah.
Yeah. But you never know what someone's going through. I
Exactly.
always try to remember that. Like maybe their dog just died. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try to not attack back, and I just exit the room. I
Yep.
block a lot of people.
Hey, you know what? I think sometimes it's better that way, and then maybe they could reflect on, be like, oh wow, I really whatever, you know.
Whatever.
What have been some of, I know you had your book that you just, was it this past year that you released it, or the year before that, Kingdom?
I've been working on it for years. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Last year was when I came out with the hardback.
Oh, okay,
I
that's what
had
it,
kind
yeah.
of started with like a little magazine, and then it kind of got grew and grew, and I finally created a whole book. It took me forever.
Yeah.
I'm just picking the images. I have thousands of images, and picking the stories and then writing the stories, and then I'm a graphic designer, so then putting it together. And then I went through like 12 different print runs. I was always finding mistakes or things that I didn't like, or so I think it's finally done. I have been selling
Awesome.
them, but I feel like I've stopped editing it. I've stopped looking at it. It's just done. I'm ready for a new book.
Good. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like you said, you've had pictures that you had in your repertoire for like years and years now, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I'm wanting to move forward this year and doing new things. I don't want to continue to work on things I've already been doing. I need some new projects. So, yeah, a new book would be great. I think have some ideas, and I want to do a new book that's more about my old book's more about the animals and the extinction crisis, and some stories, but kind of a little bit of sorrow in there. I really want to write a book about, like I said, so many people will never be able to travel to Africa. And I've
Yeah.
never shared my experiences as a female solo travel there, and telling some of the stories of just what it's like to wake up in the Serengeti, the sounds of the birds, the hippos, the feeling of the air, the ground, the safaris, what it's like traveling, and just kind of sharing some beautiful moments and stories instead of such travesties.
Yeah, it's an important balance, right? Because we need both. We need to know the truth and you know what we actually have to do to protect, but then there is that thing, right? Like I forget what it is, but like in conservation and like nurses, like they get empathy overload or something. So
True. It's
that's
true.
like really hard. You need that positive, like that really cool bond or like just something uplifting to balance it out. But it is important. Both need the space, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think I look at it kind of like art. And when
Yeah.
there's this whole study done on when you see beautiful art, it stimulates your brain the same way as if you're falling in love for the first time. And I thought that was really interesting when I read that article on the study. I think maybe it was done by Harvard. I'm not sure who did the study, but it was really interesting. And I kind of thought about that. Just, yeah, we need more beauty in art. I think we need to feel more, even if you're going through a really challenging season in your life, or you've had loss and disappointment, as we all have, we need art and beauty to go on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a primal and like it really is like very like integrated into who we are as like ancient humans. Like it's very primal art and expression and
Using my hands. I don't remember the last time I've used my hands other than cooking. It's just everything's so digital, It's even when
yeah.
I'm taking these pictures, I'm using a digital camera. So yeah, just getting back to finding something creative that
Yeah.
that people don't, even writing stories or reading books. I've started doing that again lately, trying to get back to, a 1980s vibe where we had to use pen and things like that. Open a
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. I rule of thumb, I can't usually read a book on digital. I have to have a physical book. Like and I have to have a bag big enough to carry the book in. So,
This is
yeah.
my first year. I actually bought a real book this year, and that was my first book I have purchased in 15 years.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It's like an actual, it's on paper. It's just crazy. I'm like, oh my God. It's
It's
amazing.
awesome. I'm sure though when you're traveling that it's just easier to have everything digitally because I'm sure you need to travel smaller too and not bring as much stuff when
Oh
you're
man, you
traveling.
just pack your underwear because they have travel weight restrictions in Africa, and my equipment's so heavy, and you have
Yeah.
to pay so much money at these little airplanes because I'm always over. I'm always putting batteries in my pockets and cameras on me, but I'm always over. It's just part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's only
You're
so much I can carry. You know,
right.
I have a rule where it's like I have to have two bags and that's it because I
Right.
can't carry more than two bags. If I can't carry my own luggage, I can't go. So I need to make sure I can take care of myself. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, you can't carry it's not like you're carrying a bag of shoes or anything like that.
No, no, definitely no shoes. Yeah, it's funny.
But I feel like that's also like very exhilarating and liberating too to be like even more connected with the wild landscape. Like you're even
Mhm.
thinking about like I have to have like lesser luggage. Like I like it's already setting your mind towards having a more primal connected experience too.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have my moisturizers
Hey, yeah, we're still women too, right? And
and
it's
my
good for your skin.
and
So
my oils because it's so dry out there.
yeah.
But it's yeah, you learn to you like what do I have to have, you know? And I've since I've been there so many times, I've learned over. I'm a master packer now. I mean, I can get all of my makeup into one little bag. It's crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you
experience.
realize what you actually really need and don't need too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. You don't need a razor.
No one's paying attention to that. It's very hot, right?
Nobody, nobody cares.
So I feel like also what's cool about Africa and like obviously I haven't been, but just like looking at your website and like all your pictures and everything, there are just so many different landscapes, which is pretty cool. Mountains and savannas and
It's yeah, it's so barren in some places. You know, it depends on the weather. If they haven't had any rain and there's been a drought, it's barren. I've seen just miles of dead animals before.
wow.
So you know, it's like everything else, right? I'm showing you my best shots.
Yeah.
I'm not showing all the trash or poverty and things like that. Yeah, I'm just showing you the best stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is probably, I'm sure you've had very connective experiences, especially with all the animals, but like, what's one or some of like your favorite experiences that you've had?
So many. I wouldn't even know, but I think probably for me it was I don't know if you know that there's two northern white rhinos left on the earth.
Yes, I saw on your
Um,
website.
but
Beautiful.
yeah, they're at Opajeta, and so Najin and Fatu is their names. They're older rhinos. They're at Opajeta, and they are guarded 24/7 with actual armed guards, which is kind of crazy to see. These beautiful men with these huge guns just protecting these animals all day, and it's so amazing to see these caretakers. They just really almost become one with these animals, the way that they love and care for them. They're separated from their families. They're out sometimes at these places months at a time without seeing their family, and so it's just a commitment to actually see. It's just they're men, you know.
Yeah, the
Love seeing
dedication.
them, but yeah, so I had the chance to go, and I didn't realize what I'd be able to do, if I'd be able to touch them or how close I'd be able to get. And, you know, they gave me 5 seconds to go up to it and take a photo. And I also captured some images of Najina Fatu. And it was it was kind of, it felt tragic. I had this profound awe and sorrow because I actually felt like extinction of what it felt like. And it was painfully tangible, I think, to touch her and to feel like just decades of poaching, and you can almost just feel it. It's hard to explain. And you know, when they die, the species is extinct. They're gone, you
Yeah.
know? And it's you feel that. And I was able to visit the grave of Sudan. Sudan was the last male northern white rhino. He's the father of Najee, I believe. And they have this beautiful graveyard, which I have photos of on my website. But they all have these gravestones. And Sudan died of old age, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But all the other graves were rhinos that had been poached, and I just read each one of them, and it was just to just read how they've been killed and their horns hacked off and left to die horribly. You really just, it changes the way you see humanity and the pain that people have caused on these animals for greed, for things that don't make any sense. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's their horns are made of the same thing as your fingernails. It's just, and they're just slaughtering them to extinction. It's just really sad to see. It just changes you. I don't think I've ever been the same since that day, seeing those two rhinos and then looking at all those gravestones. And it's underneath this tree that has weaver birds. And these weaver birds have this beautiful song when they build their nests. And so it was at sunset. And this is also the day I met one of my best friends, Kristen. And it was just like this moment I'll never forget. It was beautiful and also very painful.
Uh, I can feel it. You explained it so well, and thank you for sharing that because I think that that's like one of those things that I'm sure like you don't even realize the amount of like the emotion of what you're feeling until you get into that situation and like what that animal represents, like you're saying, for extinction and that they're the last two and kind of what humans have done, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's sad.
yeah, it's so unfortunate because I feel like there's so many animals that this happens to that like they're just killed and then like the rest of them is just like left like it's not an honorable like it's not like you're like I know you're vegan, so I'm sure you do not agree with this, but like with like killing a deer and at least using every single part of it. Like I remember I recently interviewed this filmmaker Rachel Tilseth, and she has a documentary called People and Wolves: A Coexistence story. And in that, one of the gentlemen, he's a native from Wisconsin, a Native American from Wisconsin, and he said, to for a death of a human being and also like the death of a deer is the same word, or like the death of an animal, because it's a sorrowful thing that you're doing, that you're taking, but like you're doing it for sustenance and like you're honoring every single part of the animal, and like there is such a difference between
There is a
doing that.
difference, and I do
Yeah.
recognize, even though I'm vegan, I do recognize the difference. My dad was a deer hunter. Yeah, it's different if you're out in the wild and you're killing food for your family and you're using the whole thing, kind of like the Native Americans did, right? Or our ancestors did, but it's just not really that way anymore. People are going to the grocery store and buying stuff in plastic. It's just not, no one's out killing their food. And yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
endangered species, though, that's trophy hunting. That's a whole different thing from just hunting. You're killing an animal for a part to either hang on a wall or a rug on the floor, and then you're just leaving the rest. And it's not sustainable. It's just not ethical. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
mm.
It's so sad, but I'm hoping that also with work that you're doing to highlight different stories of these animals and so many other people that like work their butts off to basically try to do the right thing and recognize, you know, there's a lot of good people out there
There
for,
really are. It's just
yeah,
sometimes you gotta search them out.
right.
I found some amazing people, and yeah, I think it's a small percentage, to be honest with you, but God, when you meet them, it's just you see what they're doing, and it just it just almost feels like sometimes one person almost feels like 100 people into one. Some of the people I've met who are doing conservation work, they do so much,
Yeah.
24/7. It's like it's embedded. It's in their life, and yeah, it's just like they're. It just feels like they're more than one person.
Yeah, like the
And
guards that, dedicate their lives and are away from their family for months at a
the
time.
rangers, the
Yeah.
guards, the wildlife. Yeah, it's just they're. It's amazing. I have some. One of my good friends is a ranger. I met him my first trip to Africa, and his name's David, and he's just such a wonderful person. Really, he just dedicates his whole life to he finds poachers and arrests them, and he's always sending me pictures and stories. And I love that I've connected with him and can see, he's got two little kids, and it's just so amazing how they dedicate their lives.
Yeah.
They're just like such good men, and he's like a
Yeah.
strong man. It's
Right.
just, but he's just so humble and sweet, and yeah, it's just I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Some of the best people I've met are in Africa.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Um,
it's such a beautiful thing, right? Like the vulnerability and passion. Like I think that unfortunately there's obviously of course like the toxic masculinity, but I think that there's something really beautiful with people like your friend who's kind of like that 101 person, right? Like that there's 100 people he's doing the work of. But that, just like I do a lot of my things and my focus is for like my son too, and to be able to put like good out into the world, and I'm sure he feels the same, to be such a good example for like his children, that next generation is very important.
right. Yes, it's very important. I kind of feel like, well, my generation and above, we've kind of sometimes I don't feel like we're here to save the earth. I feel like we're here to leave it. Does that make sense? We've done so much damage, and I always have a lot of hope. I follow Jane Goodall a lot, and she says a lot about hope, and I read her book and things like that. And it's just like you have a lot of hope, but you also kind of know we're doomed,
Yeah.
because of because there's just, like I said, there's so many things. It's the plastic pollution, it's the trash, the consumerism. It's just, the killing
Right.
of endangered species, keystone species, the oceans. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
the problems are thick.
Yeah. I
And we
think
just
that,
don't have enough people that care. That's the problem.
yeah, because they're just so caught up in like the now and like what's happening. But I also feel like there's this, like, what I'm kind of hoping to try to do with this podcast is for people to find their connection back to nature, because I do think it's such an integral part and like such a primal part of humans, and like to maybe try to live much more like in tune with the earth. And I mean, there's scientific proof to this, right? You sit outside, you hear bird song, it's better for your mental health, you
It's so
know?
much better. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem and I get it. I understand. I've been there. You get caught up into this routine of buying things and owning things. There's this funny, I don't know if it's funny, but it's this quote I saw recently where you spend the first half of your life buying things, collecting things, even getting tattoos. And then you spend the later part of your life getting rid of those things, removing the tattoos. And I was like, it's so true, because I've been removing tattoos and I've been getting rid of things that I have bought that I didn't need. And like, why did I buy this? What's wrong with me? And so it's definitely been something for me as well, of just trying to live more minimally and own one purse. You don't need 10. And to, give back to animals or people or whoever you want. If you're not of use, I don't feel like you can live from a happy space, in some way to be useful. I think it just makes people happier,
Yeah.
contributes somehow
Yeah. And like
in
be
whatever you
creative.
like. It doesn't have to be animals. You don't have to be vegan, but find something
Yeah.
that makes
Like,
you kinder.
right. Like I think that like being able to have some sort of an outlet, some like you don't even have to be, like you said, like it doesn't have to be like specifically one thing, like even sitting outside or just like having your tea in the morning, like listening to the birds, like maybe that's like your little bit of something. Or you like to work with your hands, you like to build things. I do think that that's like in an integral part of like moving our bodies is. And I also think just being in nature and connecting that way, I think is just such a powerful and really important thing for like us as humans, our mental health.
It's true. Nature's church. The most peaceful I feel is when I'm in Africa, because I've
Yeah.
disconnected from all the things that I own. not a lot of technology because I'm out in the wild and I'm getting dirty. At the end of the day, I'm filthy. And
Right.
that's just how life should be. You should, at the end of the day, your skin should smell of sun and dust, you know? You should be tired. You should be, yeah, I don't
Like,
know.
yeah, like exhaust yourself a little bit so it's easier to sleep at night, like because you've done so much, I guess, during the day, or if you've gone to adventure. Like, I think that's also another thing. Like, my favorite thing about traveling is when I go, like, is connecting with the people there. Or I have so many like great connective stories with people of different places, and like you can never really go and understand, a place until you've actually, I feel like, been there. It's
It's
really
true.
hard to, be able to understand like what other people go through, or like until you see it and absorb it and smell it and touch and integrate and use all of your senses too.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing how other people live in other countries, it's life changing,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? We're so spoiled here in the United States, I think a lot of people are. You actually don't see, what I consider real poverty until you've traveled and actually seen. It's hard to watch and look at. It's yeah, just we all should experience it. I think, you know, you'll stop buying more and you'll start listening more and, like you said, getting
Yeah.
out in nature and connecting with the ground. Put your
Yeah.
feet on the ground.
Be uncomfortable, right? Because I think that's like where people
Dirty.
get caught up the most, is being really comfortable, being very cozy.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to be cold, or I don't want to be hot, or I don't want to be dirty, or, oh, that's a bug. Ew. Like, that's like the biggest thing. And, I think like, the more that, I don't know, be uncomfortable. Yeah, it's hot. It is going to be a little hot, but
Yeah, and
you're
that's what I
going
love about Africa is it's like there's so many bugs and spiders. I literally cured my fear of spiders.
to.
And yeah, it's buggy, it's dirty, it's hard, it's hot, and sometimes
Yeah,
it's cold. The weather's
right.
unforgivable on some days. But that's what makes it amazing is the struggle. And everyone likes the struggle. I know people who wouldn't survive in Africa a day. So
Yeah, you have to be open to that, right? Like, it's also like a mentality thing, but um
yeah, I've always been a little bit of a tomboy. And when I was
yeah.
younger, I would go in the creek against my mother's wishes and hunt for snakes. So I've always kind of been a little tomboyish. So yeah.
Yeah. Me too. I did something similar. I would go and play in mud, and I'd come back like head to toe in mud.
Yeah, I would hunt for venomous snakes, so I would get in trouble. Have you
Yeah,
been in
that's
that
not.
creek again? I'm like, no. Why is your dress all wet? I don't know.
That's so funny. Yeah. So I love on your website, like, it's kind of exactly what we've been talking about. In
Mhm.
nature, we find our wild, which
No, yeah,
is,
that's so true. I mean, a lot of what I write is just it's my own experience.
yeah,
It's just these are things that it kind of sounds poetic and it kind of sounds like I wrote it, but it's really just how I felt when I was there. It's just like I said, I journeyed to Africa right after a very painful divorce. I have two children, and I it really healed me in ways, in areas that I didn't even know needed healing. It's just, I think, like you said, connecting to nature. It's therapy.
yeah. It
Really
brings out
is.
things that you don't realize even need to be healed, or that you didn't even know was necessarily
It's
there.
true. And I think also for me, seeing this, what the animals are going through. And, I've saw a poached elephant and I've seen things that just changes your perspective. I think sometimes to feel the suffering of other beings, it also helps your own suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helps to, it's unfortunate because you don't want them to obviously be going through that, but then you realize, like, oh, maybe it's not like, you know I can keep going. Like, this happened, like, I saw this tragedy, but like, I can keep going. Like, this isn't gonna stop me or my path, and maybe I could do something to change it.
Yeah. I think it makes me want to do more when I see it. It's
Yeah.
different when you see something on a screen and when you see it with your own eyes. It's just takes on a different vibe, different feel, different mood. It just yeah, it changes you, right? Which is
Yeah.
good. I love
Yeah.
change. I love when things change me. Yeah, I embrace
Yeah.
it.
And sometimes people don't like change, you
They
know?
don't like change. I know some people they want. My mother still uses the same soap of when I was little, which is kind of funny. When I saw it, I was like, can't believe she's still using that same soap. I've probably been through like 80 different soaps since then, at least, you know. I always want new things and try new scents or
Yeah.
fragrances. Just, yeah, I don't like things to stay the same. But yeah, most people, they don't like change because it's scary.
Right.
It's scary
Yeah.
when things
It
all of a sudden change. And yeah.
it reminds me of kind of like maybe like captive zoo animals, how they're like stuck in like in the
Mm,
wilds. Like we go through different seasons, animals go through different seasons of like
they really
age and
do.
environment and everything like that. So
They
we're
do.
bound to change, you know, especially as women. Like we really have
We have
seasons,
no
you know.
choice. We have to change. We can't, we have to change to
Yeah.
keep up.
Right. We're the antithesis of beings of change, you know, like especially moms, you know, it's like that other aspect of life. It's you know, making me a mom too is like connected me so much and like I've always been a deep feeler, but didn't realize how much more like once you become a mom that you see things and you're I don't know,
Oh,
it's
it's
definitely
just such a,
yeah.
I have two boys and I'm always joking around. They're older now. My oldest is 20. I'm always joking around because I've been through all these experiences with men and dating and I realize that they're born this way. Like they're always losing things. They have this sort of kind of weird attitude and I'm like they're born this way. It's not really their fault. Like and my children are amazing and sweet, amazing boys, but like there's just parts of them that I experienced with men where I just thought it was a learned behavior or whatever and they're born that way. So it's been very humbling for me having two
Yeah.
boys, raising two boys. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little boy too, so but
Oh,
he's 3.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the fun years.
He's very cuddly right now, so I do love that. But obviously 3-year-old tantrums have its challenges, but
I've
uh
been there. Yeah, it's just when they get older, they turn into these human beings. It's just I'm always joking with them, like, I miss you guys when you were sweet. Like, what happened to you? You used to love me so much. Now they're like,
oh,
get out of my room
uh I'm gonna absorb it for every moment I
and
have.
absorb it because it goes so quickly.
Do
I
they
would,
ever go with you to Africa? Have they been
they
with you?
have no desire. They love to eat chicken and meat, and they have no desire. I've been rescuing cats at my home for about 4 years, and they've told me no more cats in the house. Like, we're done. Like, this is ridiculous. They love animals. They just, yeah, I've asked them many times if they want to go with me to Africa, and they're like, no, no desire. Maybe when they get older, you
Yeah,
know.
maybe one day. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my youngest is 17, so he's kind of in that older teenage years where he's going through a lot of emotional stuff.
Doesn't probably don't want to be separated from their friends for that long too, I'm sure.
I don't know what it is. I just let him be. I just feed him, and I've done what I can do at this point. You
Right.
guys are on your own. Mm.
Yeah. And you know what? That's okay because if they want to come with you one day, you're letting them be themselves and then you still get to be a mom and have your creative thing and
Yeah.
interests.
I mean, I
Yeah.
hope one day I'll have a house there and they'll just come visit me.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll
That would be
see.
amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
I just have to find one.
Where would you live in Africa if you were to choose a dream spot?
I mean, just drop me anywhere. I don't know. I have this like dream of just kind of having like have you seen I Dream of Africa with Kim Basinger? I love that movie. I
I
love
don't
how
know
she
if I've
has
seen
this
it.
house out in the wild and I just like I want to live like that. I want to live sustainably and have like this really cool colonial type house, where you have to like dust off the rugs every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, just maybe in my retiring years, since something I really want to get out of the city and this life that
Yeah.
we've created for ourselves. I want to
Yeah.
live off the land. I love gardening. I grow my own food. I just want to live more sustainably. And yeah, it just
Yeah.
takes a lot to get there,
I know dreams are big, and then like the road to get there is full of complexities, and like, we get
Yeah.
like I'm a dreamer too, and I have like lots of those kind of dreams that and goals, I would say. And like this was one of them I had for a really long time, and then I finally got
Yeah.
to accomplish it. So it's not that
Mine
it doesn't.
too. It
Yeah.
happens. I just hope I'm not 80. I can only keep this
Yeah.
up so much longer. It's
I hope
exhausting.
I hope for your sake that it's sooner than later.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, I gotta get married again, maybe. I don't know, do I?
Hey, whatever, I guess, like, I always believe that the universe, what's for you won't pass you. I love that quote.
It's
You know,
true, right? I actually enjoy being single now. I've been through so many horrible relationships that, I'm living a drama-free life. Feels good. I wake up in the morning. I don't
yeah,
have anyone's son giving me anxiety. I have a lot of great male friends, and I enjoy men, and I love men. I love my boys, but yeah, it's
yeah,
been complicated. Relationships are complicated and they
they
just don't
are.
always work. So I think it's important to find your passion in life outside of dating and relationships. Because then
Absolutely.
when you're
Yeah.
single and I spent Christmas pretty much alone. I spent my birthday alone, but it was okay because it was drama free and I could do what I want, eat what I want. And yeah, it's not easy to get there, but it took me many years of celibacy and sobriety to finally arrive at a place of where I'm content and peaceful.
That's like such an important point too, because we have to be like our own best friends first, and to be
You
able to
do. I
absorb our passions and like and work through them, and have those still. Because if you're so absorbed, or if you're so like too connected, not too connected, but like, if you lean on someone too much, then your own self is going to get like, like you're not going to be able to be on your own that much. So
and I've been there. I've
yeah.
relied on somebody, and when they left me, I was dust
And
laid
now
out.
you're even stronger than you were before, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely. You have to be. I don't
Yeah.
I don't have any other choice. I'm a mother. I have to keep going and I have to be strong for my kids. I don't have time to unravel again.
Yeah. It's the ultimate. I think that like that's the one thing for me that's definitely broken me down in a lot of ways, but made me so much stronger and built me up so much more as being a mom. And like how much you just have to keep going, and like to do the best for them is also like when you're doing the best for yourself, you're becoming a better person and
It's
healing.
true. It's
You're
like when
giving
you
better to them.
It's like when you're on the airplane and they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first and then
Yeah.
whoever. So I you have to take care of yourself. And if you're not happy, I'm not happy, then I can't be a great mom. I
Yeah.
can't do what I do. So I have to work really hard at being happy. It's
Yeah.
not easy. It's the road. It's a daily challenge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Every day is rife with something new and different, but it's so important to
Um,
have that and to be a good example. Like there's no other better way to show how to be happy, because that's the goal that we want for our children as moms, right? We just want them to be as happy as possible.
and
And it's so
healthy.
hard to do that, to be like, "Oh, I'm telling you, just go be happy." But showing it, living it, proving it, like that's the way it's ultimately usually
Right.
works.
Live by example for
Yeah.
sure. I think
Yeah.
that's really important and it's I don't really preach a lot of stuff with my veganism or different things that I believe in. I try to live by example. And if people see that I'm happy and healthy, then maybe it'll inspire people to live better or to make better choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like that's such a great place to end, Deanna. Thank you
Sure.
so much for coming on. I had such a great conversation with you. And for people listening, let them know how they can connect with you.
Um, Through my website.
Okay. I'll link everything below
I've been
too.
disconnecting from social media because it's just, as you know, what it's become. So
Yes. Yeah.
if people email me, I do respond. If they find my website, I do have a newsletter that I have created that I'm going to be engaging more with this year as far as stories. I just got on Blue Sky. And I
Awesome.
just got on another couple apps where it's just going to be more about creative writing and a creative space. So I'm going to start sharing those spaces once I kind of get them branded and uploaded. So yeah, hopefully people can find me somewhere else besides Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'll make sure to link everything below so it's easy for people to come and check out your website because it's I enjoyed even just going through your website. I feel like you had so much information on there too and all your
It's
stories
so
and
many stories. I've
yeah.
spent 10 years writing all this. I'm
Yeah.
redoing some things now. I'm adding to it. So it's every year I try to redo my website, but yeah.
Yeah, I would highly recommend people listening to check it out. Your pictures are really beautiful. The stories you tell are really amazing. And thank you so much again for coming on. And thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Yes, this has been fun.
Oh, thank you. I feel like we had such a great conversation and
I mean, this is my second podcast, and it's just I'm not real good with like I'm more of reclusive. I like to write and be behind, my creative energy. So it's hard to come on camera sometimes.
well, I feel like you did a really great job
Thank
and I
you.
appreciate you sharing, your insight with everybody and I think it's been really great and I think it's important. Sometimes it's good to come out of the shell a little bit because you have
It's
so much beautiful
uncomfortable.
it's uncomfortable, but you have so many really beautiful insights and things. So I'm really
Thank you.
glad
I
that
appreciate that.
we chatted. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much, Wild Ones, for listening. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Revel in the moment like a river flowing to the sea. I feel the energy of life force flowing all through